The Tommy Campbell Show. Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tommy Campbell, still bald, still in my basement, watching a diapered former reality TV game show host dropping multi-million-dollar bombs and F-bombs a short few months after Donald Trump accused Zelensky of gambling with World War III. And I'm going to get into what this all costs. Full transparency, I'm a bit queasy this morning. I accidentally put cumin in my oatmeal instead of cinnamon, and I didn't realize it until I dug in. I don't recommend that. Can't get the taste out of my mouth. You know you're not a great negotiator when you run away from the G7 and then launch a war with Iran that you claim is not a war with Iran. The Iran nuclear deal, or Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, was signed in 2015 to restrict Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. Under the Iran nuclear deal, Iran never enriched uranium beyond 3.67%, just as the agreement required. Trump withdrew the U.S. from the deal in 2018. Since then, Iran reduced its breakout time to produce a nuclear weapon. Trump failed to negotiate, so the no more wars guy pulled the trigger. Do you want Iran to have nukes? No, but their pathway to them was accelerated by Trump, who launched an extremely expensive attack that could very well lead to more retaliation in many forms, including sleeper cells, or as he says,
and among everything else, he let a lot of supercells in, many from Iran. But hopefully we'll take care of them.
Hopefully we'll take care of them, says the guy that has Eric on standby with golden turd tongs because he can't take care of himself. Supercells? I especially like this because J.D. Vance was just going on about Trump being so smart.
And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives. So this is not going to be some long, drawn-out thing. We've got in. We've done the job of setting their nuclear program back. We're going to now work to permanently dismantle that nuclear program over the coming years, and that is what the president has set out to do.
Yes, going on about dumb presidents when the president just called them supercells and spelled his own name wrong in a tweet. He spelled his name wrong and hit send. That is what we're dealing with, and it's kind of scary. It's very scary. Also, things went from totally obliterated to it's a start. Subscribe. I had a lot of family in the Air Force, now retired, but they were stationed in the USA, Canada, and Europe over the years, so I've always been interested in planes, and it was crazy to watch in real time as people tracked the movement and predicted the delivery of the weapons, despite Pete Hegseth taking a victory lap for no leaks. It was all on social media, long before the planes reached there, giving Iran plenty of time to move what they could. Oh, yeah, that's so comforting. Operation Midnight Hammer, or as Pete Hegseth and Judge Jeanine wanted to call it, Midday Hammered, then was changed to a more conservative Midnight Hammered before settling on Midnight Hammer. Roughly 30 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles at a cost of $2 million each, and sources estimate that the massive ordnance penetrator, 14 of these were dropped at a cost of $20 million each. I'm not even going to work in the cost of the aircraft or the fuel it takes to fly all of these over 40 hours from Whiteman Air Base in Missouri to Iran, as well as the decoy jets. In total, 75 precision-guided weapons were said to be used during the operation, but going on the low end of the Tomahawk and the massive ordnance penetrator, which sounds like a Peter North film, that is $340 million. And that's going on just over half of the weapons we know were used and ignoring the fuel. I said this all along with Doge, trying to cut every corner when you have this so-called peace president that'll just blow a fortune on a military parade or $340 million minimum on a strike on Iran because he's too dumb to try and have a conversation.
You've got a number of provisions. We want to make sure that we hold by our commitment that we are not cutting Medicaid. The president has said that, and I've said that. We've all said that. We are strengthening the program for the people who are the most vulnerable populations who really rely upon that. You're talking about the disabled, the elderly, young pregnant women, for example. Those resources won't be available for those people who desperately need it and deserve it if young able-bodied men, for example, are on the program and not working. So we introduced a work requirement on the House side.
According to the widely available document, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that the combined effects of those policies would increase the number of people without health insurance by 16 million by 2034. Again, 340 million minimum. Like it's probably half the figure for a strike on Iran, and that's being like extremely conservative. A tweet of mine from 2019 before I was shadow banned. This guy is going to get us all killed. Or what about these tweets from Trump back in the day? I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. Do you just want people to pray their cancer and broken limbs away, Mike? Because 16 million people are going to have no choice while you're at home trying to find a way to snap one off without notifying your accountability wank partner. Speaking of prayer,
the east, the west, the north, and the south, you will shake America with your power and your glory. We cancel every assignment of the enemy. This nation was birthed to be one nation under God.
Yeah, I just can't. This is just so much stupid. Painful. I made this show without any sponsors thanks to your tips, channel memberships, and merch. Please throw me what you can to keep this show going.
President Trump is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize, no doubt. You look at what he's done with the Congo and Rwanda. You look at where he is with Pakistan and India and what he's done there. And then you look at this, what everyone talked about but no one thought was possible. He has brought peace to a region that needed stability. He has shown what America First policy actually is.
Remember Katie from the fake kitchen table going on about her weird name kids and making ends meet when her family's worth millions? Well, we got to this point because of Trump, Katie. He's not the solution. He's the problem. You know, actually, I've been to both Qatar and Bahrain a couple times for shows, and it's just crazy to see the footage of missiles heading to the U.S. bases, people panicking in malls. Once when I was ill with a really bad fever, the song Iran, So Far Away was in my head on this screaming loop. And whenever I hear Iran, it's back in there, just drilled in. Maybe that's why I prefer Iran or Persia. Hey, remember when they made the Prince of Persia movie with the white guy from Brokeback Mountain? Kind of crazy, not just because he's not even remotely Iranian, but his biggest role was playing a gay cowboy, and in Iran, same-sex stuff is illegal and can result in severe penalties from receiving 100 lashes to the death penalty. Yeah, that's not good.
And nobody knows what it means to accomplish peace through strength better than President Trump. He is the one who came up with that motto and that foreign policy doctrine, and he successfully implemented it in his first term. And this is one of many steps he is taking to successfully implement peace in his second term.
She's 27. Her brain, I guess, doesn't go past that. Maybe she should check with her husband, 32 years her senior. The motto, peace through strength, is often associated with Ronald Reagan, who popularized it in the 80s, but the concept traces back to ancient times and was notably used by Roman Emperor Hadrian. While Donald Trump went straight to war, Canada and the EU went straight to business with a comprehensive security and defense partnership in Brussels. The pact includes joint efforts in crisis management, cybersecurity, maritime and space security, arms control, and support for Ukraine. Additionally, it allows Canadian companies to participate in the EU's $150 billion joint procurement program, SAFE, and initiates negotiations for a digital agreement on global standards for digital issues.
And so today, this is a new era of cooperation. Our strategic Canada-EU or EU-Canada strategic partnership for the future will build a new and deeper relationship that brings us closer together, from defense to digital, from supply chains to security. We're launching comprehensive negotiations across multiple areas of cooperation and connection, trade, security, digital, climate. And this will make us both more resilient and more prosperous. In many respects, what we're committing to, from our perspective, Canada's perspective, is an ongoing process to an ever closer partnership that will bring our people closer together.
This is all happening because of Donald Trump. He's demonstrated that he can't be trusted, he can't be relied upon. And some people are getting upset saying, oh, a trade deal with the EU, this is bad. I just don't understand. Trade goes both ways. You can't expect people to buy your product if you're not willing to buy theirs. It's very complex, but it's also very simple. Now, at the same time Carney was strengthening ties with the EU, two-time loser Pierre Poilievre was in Alberta, the birthplace of Ted Cruz, because the unemployed eyes too close together moron is going to run in the softball by-election in the measles capital of Canada after MP Damien Carrick, the recent winner, resigned to give Pierre an easy shot at a gig in the Conservative stronghold, since Pierre doesn't have a seat and has been squatting in the official residence of the party leader since his defeat. It is the slimiest move from the guy that refused to get security clearance and will not even live in Alberta if he wins. I was on the road a week ago doing a few shows with Jim Jefferies, and I put out a behind-the-scenes backstage tour video for members. If you haven't joined, it's less than $3 a month for extra videos, a badge next to your name, custom emoji. It all helps the show get made for less than the price of a cup of coffee. Hit the join button now and help this show happen. He makes fun of Kristi Noem for having some Botox when old Tommy has clearly had a lot of work done himself. Okay, nailed the spelling on Noem. Love that. That is a new one. And I'm flattered that you think I have the cash to splash on plastic surgery, but if I did get Botox, I'd be in need of a refund because it clearly didn't work. The line across my forehead is as wide as the lines on Don Jr.'s CD case. MAGA tears. Never heard of you and will never heard of you again. Not funny. A lot of people enjoy my work, but facts and comedy aren't for everyone. Humor is subjective, and that's cool. So even if you never heard of me again, we appreciate you swinging by and leaving some stupid for us to have a laugh with. MAGA tears. Operation Midnight Hammer, or as Pete Hegseth and Judge Neen wanted to call it, Operation Boxed Wine. Two-time loser Pierre Poilievre was in Alberta, the birthplace of Ted Cruz, because the unemployed eyes too close together moron. Sums him up. But going on the low end of things, the Tomahawk and Massive Ordnance Penetrator, which sounds like a Peter North film. But going on the low end of things, the Tomahawk and Massive Ordnance Penetrator, which sounds like a Peter North film. In total, 75 precision-guided weapons were said to be used during the operation, but going on the low end of the Tomahawk and Massive Ordnance Penetrator, which sounds like a Peter North film. I can't do it. When I first heard Damn Coyote Chris's track Bethy's Gift, I gave it a plug here, and he's now dropped another song, Destination Funeral. It's a country tune with Jimmy Buffett vibes and a bit of humor, and it looks like he has another single coming on Saturday. So support a fan of the show, a friend here in the comments, and be sure to check him out on Spotify.
The Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube, and I hope you subscribe.